Conventional heaters are a bit frustrating. For a start, they emit a burnt dust smell because dust gathers on their heating element. They don't project very well into the room, so you get a very uneven temperature. You get localized heat, but then in the further corners of the room, it's very cold. And finally, they have very clunky controls. You have maybe 3 speed settings, but what you don't have is an accurate temperature setting for the room. The air multiplier aims to change all that. So this is the new Dyson Hot. It's an air multiplier technology, so air is drawn in here through these holes. It then comes out of this annulus round here, and as it comes over this aerofoil surface, you get a multiplication of the airflow occurring. And as you expand down the angle here, you get further multiplication. As you come off this edge here, you get further viscous shearing. So you get a multiplication of the original airflow from the fan of about 6 times. The heating is applied by these stones, which are sitting either side, down the sides here of the amplifier unit. And they're relatively low temperature, but you get the heat you need because there's a vast surface area of these stones. And the low temperature is important because, well, it's much safer for a start, but also it doesn't burn the dust, so you don't get that awful burnt dust smell. So the air comes up from the mixed flow impeller here into the amplifier, and it goes across these stones and then comes out of the annulus here, all the way around here. So that's how we actually heat the air. You have a controller which you can work from your armchair, remote controller. So you switch the machine on, you can hear it running. You can have oscillation, which is very useful for distributing the air very quickly in a wide volume. You can dial your temperature. Now I've got it initially set at 1, so I'll increase it, here we go, up to say 30. Now the heater's on, and it will heat the room until the entire room is at 30 degrees, and then it'll switch off. I can choose a speed setting, fan speed setting, so that's maximum, and then I can drop it back to a lower setting if I want to. So what is happening is the hot air is coming out, and because it's an air multiplier, it's very powerful. It'll very quickly circulate around the room and heat the room to the temperature you've dialed. Now, the returning air coming back in has its temperature measured. So if it's colder than you've dialed, it'll continue to heat. And once the returning air has reached the temperature you've dialed, then the heater will turn itself off, but it'll maintain that room temperature. So as the room gets colder than your dialed temperature, it'll come on and heat it back up to the desired temperature. Also, like the air multiplier, you can tilt it. And whatever position you put it in, it stays, because there's an arc described around the center of gravity of the machine. So you simply put it where you want to put it, and it stays there. This might be useful if you're trying to warm your toes, or alternatively, if you want to blow it up into the top of the room, you can do it with this setting. The controller is positioned up there and is held there magnetically, and so when you've finished, you just put it back on top. So to summarize, the air multiplier will heat the whole room quicker than any other heater, and will of course maintain it at a more accurate temperature than any other heater. It's extremely safe because there's nothing you can poke your fingers into, there's no visible burning element, and it's totally safe. If you knock it over, it switches itself off.